folks, this is the October webinar 2025, a very special one because why? Well, we've got one of our special clients. They're going to kind of share some secrets. Nothing secret about it. It's the same stuff we've been telling you to do, but we're going to allow you to start asking the questions. We want to know what you want to know about it. This is a practice that has done, yes, it has done $1 million in a month. And I think they'll tell their story about that one. They'll tell their story, 15 or so staff, 2 doctors, really actually was a bit untenable. Quite a lot of production from such a small team, but they are routinely in the $750,000 mark a month. And folks, raise your hand if you wouldn't mind being in that level of production comfortably, stress-free, with big bonuses and big smiles and making patients happy. This is the main thing this is all about. Yes, there's big numbers involved. Yes, we're going to talk about marketing specifics, but truly, what this is about is getting a volume of people in who, let's be frank, they're not happy to come to the dentist. Very few people are. There's a couple weirdos out there that like needles and drills, but by and large, not a bunch of people like coming to the dentist. This practice, as been done by many of you, has done so at such a level that they are getting a volume of people in, changing their lives in the course of that, keeping it fun, keeping it exciting. What we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the team. I'm going to make certain that you know who we're talking about. And then we're going to put some polls on the screen. And you're going to say, hey, this is what I want to know about. And by results of the poll, Britt is going to read out what the poll results are. And yeah, we're going to take up the questions. And they're here to answer whatever questions you got. I'm going to be the moderator. So if you have a very specific question, you're going to put that question in the chat. I may bring that question up. I may not have time. So with that said, I'd like to introduce, it's Dr. Rich and Vera Salvatore. I think Dr. Vera is probably holding the fort. Dr. Rich Salvatore, welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. There you go. So
yes.
Introduce yourself a little bit and talk a little bit. I just, I don't know if you heard what I just said. I think the million milestone that you guys made was amazing, but just go ahead and say a couple words about yourself and the practice.
Yes, I just ran in because I'm practicing dentist. I just was literally in a patient's mouth about 30 seconds ago. So yeah, we're in upstate New York. It's a family practice. We're 3rd generation. We found MGE in 2014, completely transformed our practice. Even being a 3rd generation, we had a transition over from kind of the bread and butter dentistry, and eventually over time, over a better part of 10 years, we're able to get to an area that we're really enjoying. I do majority of surgery, a lot of full arch implant stuff. My wife, Dr. Vera, she's more of cosmetic. Pretty much if you have teeth that need to be fixed, you see her, and if you have teeth need to be removed and replaced, you see me. We have an amazing team, very small but efficient team. I call us the SEALs Team 6 because we get a lot done with a very limited amount of people. Very highly trained team, power program graduates from ourselves, multiple team members, Kathleen and Beth. Kathleen's done it twice. That's really the secret sauce is being connected to MGE, following everything that is given to us as efficiently as possible, and then following Dan and his team, because as you know, Blumberg Digital and MGE, they speak the same language and they're a perfect match for each other. And we just learned to kind of listen. A lot of people come to me with very specific questions, and I can't answer a majority of them because we have our org board set up the right way, where Kathleen knows what she's doing, Beth knows what she's doing, Dr. Vera knows what she's doing, and I know what I'm doing, and I stay in our lane, and we just make sure that we're all doing it the right way. Yeah, and we're happy to be here to share. We had a monumental month. Each month is monumental. We hit that milestone that we thought would never happen, and we're here to share.
Fantastic. So let's go ahead and introduce your 2 superstars. So Beth and Kathleen, step up to the microphone, please, and introduce yourselves.
I'm Kathleen. I've been with Salvatore Dental for almost 10 years. I started as Dr. Vera's assistant, and quickly I knew that once I leveled everything out, because there's my favorite story is my first 2 weeks of working here, Dr. Vera sat me down and said, "Do you want to be here?" And I said, "I think so." A little nervous, but I made it work, and now I run the practice with Beth. Like Dr. Rich mentioned, I'm a double power program graduate, and MGE, Dr. Rich, Dr. Vera, and Beth, really, we couldn't do it without all the technology, but we also couldn't do it without our team at Blumberg Digital. It's been incredible to see how we've grown since I started, and we started in a tiny office where we literally had a team of 10 sitting at a table with only 4 chairs for lunch. We've grown, we've applied all the technology, and now here we are. So I'm excited to share and help you guys grow too.
Fantastic. And Beth, introduce yourself. And then if you wouldn't mind, just touch briefly on your respective positions so people understand the relationship?
Yeah, so I'm Beth. I've been with Salvatore Dental for a little over 5 years. I started as a scheduling coordinator. Now I am the front office supervisor. So I kind of help out on the front end and I really hold down the implant funnel currently. But yeah, like Dr. Rich said, we're a small team, but we're very efficient and we stay on task and we use our org board and DDS dashboard and MGE to train our team and it's really successful.
Yeah, and I'm the clinical supervisor, so that means I oversee our clinical team. I oversee our production, making sure our schedule is running smooth. So basically, Beth gets those implant leads in, and then her and I share presenting. But then once they're closed, I kind of take over from there and flow everything through our office. We have very set flows. We kind of know no matter what a patient needs, what direction they're going to go. Our team is trained in it, it's drilled in. So we always all know what we're doing.
Beautifully said. Now, you mentioned a term there, Beth, of the implant funnel. And I'm just going to give everybody here just a quick understanding and overview of what is an implant funnel. So a funnel is a marketing term. A dental implant funnel is, of course, a funnel for marketing purposes. So you got to understand there is a huge demand for dental implants. There's some stats, and we'll get these out to you. This is just taken from a presentation that Dr. Rich did recently. I'm going to just get into what it is. You normally set up a marketing funnel for larger cases, bigger things. It's generally a little bit more expensive. It is a paid ads campaign. In essence, you're bringing the person in, a lot of people in at a large level, and then you're finding out if they're interested and if they desire it, and then they convert and become, customer, and then you turn them into an active ambassador. It starts with a sponsored ad. You can see the kind of upside down pyramid on the right-hand side. The person goes to a landing page, they fill out a form, they become a lead, they get scheduled for a consultation, they come in, treatment is presented, it gets accepted, then treatment's delivered, and then we turn them into an absolute ambassador of the practice through a Google review and testimonials. That's just a brief overview. Any marketing funnel starts with getting a larger number of people in, and then it narrows it down, and the funnel is actually working in the background. What we're going to do is we're going to ask you, what do you want to know? But we're talking about the first question right now. The first question asks the following things: how Salvatore Dental handles incoming leads. Second one is what marketing channels they use to get leads. Third one is how do they get large implant cases? Fourth one is how does Salvatore Dental organize the team around new patients and leads? And then the final point for that one, for question one, is how does Salvatore Dental track their leads and their ROI? So what we're going to do is we're seeing the poll in real life. We're getting a lot of your answers. Keep that going. Now, there may be other questions. I didn't think we were going to list all 4 questions at once. So we're going to take up the first question first, and then we're going to take up each of those points. We really want to know what you want to know. Dr. Salvatore, Kathleen, Beth, have we paid you to say anything? Have we told you to say anything?
Not
No.
at all.
Yeah.
But we're more than happy to share because our practice is literally exploded. So we want to.
Yeah.
That's a great thing about MGE. We like to share our wins. Other places we don't really do that. So we're very excited and happy to share.
It's great. And I'm going to be very, very frank about things. It's not always just glitter and gold. We'll show you their return on investment broken down by month. On average over the past 8 months, their return on investment on the implant funnel, at least, has been around just under 600%. But there are a couple months in there. One was like negative 62%, and one was like negative 84%. So it's not always, beautiful and perfect. There is no filter. Nobody's going to step on and say, whoa, 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 don't say that. You guys are welcome to ask whatever you want. So we're going to take up the first one. I'm seeing this poll live: how Salvatore Dental handles incoming leads. So raise your hand between the 3 of you, Salvatorians. Okay, good. All right. So Beth, take it away.
Typically, when a new lead comes in, I'm calling them right away. As soon as I see a new one come in, I always have the dashboard up and I'm calling them. And then I'm actually using the form they filled out for us to ask them questions. And that's the biggest thing, is like building that relationship with them over the phone. A lot of the times they've already seen another office for a consultation. They kind of already have an idea of maybe what they need or what they want, and even price point. But I pretty much treat the phone call like a virtual consult. So I'm asking them questions like, when did you see a dentist last? Are you in pain? How long has this been going on for? And then I do tell them my process, or our process in the office, and how we handle full arch. And then I do give them an estimated cost.
Beautiful. Now I'm going to ask some questions. So one person asked, Priya says, Beth, can you clarify which dashboard? A lot of people here might not even have ever heard of a dental implant funnel. And so what you all can think with the advertising, the marketing side of it is that Blumberg Digital has set up this marketing engine that's producing leads that go into a dashboard. And Beth, you want to touch on what that looks like when it comes in? What data do you have? What data do you not have? And how do you use that?
Yeah, so they come in and I already know first name, last name, phone number, email, and then they fill out a survey when they click on our landing page, and it asks questions like currently, like kind of what's going on. Are you missing multiple teeth, one tooth, you're struggling with a denture, or you have bridges, crowns? It asks like how long you've been experiencing this, if you're struggling to eat certain foods, having any sort of pain. And then it asks questions like what draws you to implants. So like pain, uncomfortable to eat certain foods, just haven't found a dentist that you like.
Social, like embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of the questions I go off of when I'm talking to them.
Good. So you get that lead in.
Mhm.
And you talk about how important it is to get back to that lead immediately. Or what is the usual time frame and how do you manage that? Because you're handling other stuff in the practice.
It's very important you reach out to them right away because they're already on their phone. They're looking at the ad. They have just filled out the survey. So they're in interest. They want to know more. So yeah, as soon as that lead comes in, I'm on top of it, reaching out to them. And I reach out via phone call, text message, email, whatever form of communication I can get a hold of them.
Tell them about the one this morning, the time difference.
I literally had one this morning and it was like a 2-minute difference between the time her survey came in to me calling her.
And I want to just touch base real quick.
Yeah.
So there's also kind of a hierarchy in our practice of importance. And that's one thing you have to focus on, because we know that the implant funnel and these big cases are, very important to the patient because it changes their lives, and it's all very important to our stats. So for us to get an implant patient in that could be potentially, $25,000, $50,000 case, that's like amazing for everyone. That's very important. So we have a hierarchy in our office where the leads are up there. If there's 3 things going on, an implant lead comes in, we have to jump on that. This is one thing that could fall off and has fallen off in the past for us, as we're learning the process, is where we have so much noise in our office that the leads are not being nurtured. And then we see a severe dip. And we're like, what happened? And because our focus came off. So right now, our big focus is to really focus on handling the leads properly, handling when they come in the office. They're kind of like our VIP. When they're in this consult room with me and I'm sitting there talking to them, I could have 1,000 things going on. I could have 4 hygiene checks and all this, and I could have daggers being stared through the walls at me, but I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the patient. So that's one thing that sounds good on paper, but it's something that has to be kind of drilled in, because you have these crazy days. And the end of the day, you don't want to say, why didn't we call these 9 implant leads?
Mm-hmm.
And then also what Beth does that's amazing is that every conversation that she has, from the first phone call, second phone call, what have you, it's all in our, literally just go in the dental software and she types everything up. So I know exactly how the conversation went. When they come into the office, now we can reiterate exactly what Beth talked about. So we're not going over everything a few times. And in their head, they're saying, okay, there's ARC already. They've already communicated. They know my reality. It wasn't just some bot that I talked to, as an actual person that, was able to translate things over. So
beautiful. A couple questions came in while you guys were talking. So how much do you spend per month? We'll talk about that and the budget here shortly, and the ROI. So we'll get to that one. How many times do you reach out before they answer, Beth?
I mean, it really depends. I mean, I think we kind of changed up our marketing, and then, I went from almost every lead coming in was answering the phone. And then sometimes, something changes and maybe it takes 3 or 4 times before they answer, but it's consistency. You have to follow up.
And to touch upon what she said, that's one thing we do keep track of, is when she's getting a ton of voicemails over and over again, instead of actually getting people picking up the phone, we do track that. So that way, when we have our meetings with our Blumberg Digital team, it's something we can bring up and make quick changes.
Just so you all know, what Kathleen's talking about is and there's always this in whatever marketing company you're currently using, if it's not Blumberg Digital, but you'll hear it from us. It's an 80-20 relationship. 80% of the work is being done by Blumberg Digital. 20% must be done by the client. And the client, in this case, the Salvatores, that's a lot of work. They are routinely getting data back to the team. Hey, this is what's happening. This is because, hey, Dr. Salvatore, have you seen trends change on marketing over the past 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's every quarter, every month, it's crazy. You'll have something that's hot. Same thing with our financing companies. One's doing really well, and then it's not. And the other one is similar with marketing, and it's hitting a moving target. And that's why you'll see, like Dan's going to show you, some months we're doing 2,000% return on investment, and then we have one that are negative because something's changed, and you have to act fast. One reason why it's great to have, I mean, the girls are, my team's literally on text or call with Bloomberg daily. You need that relationship where you can move quick.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, the question that came in is, how do you prevent missed or canceled appointments? Who's going to take that one? Raise your hand. Good. Beth, you're on.
Funnel's Beth's baby.
So I found that building ARC with them over the phone and really asking them questions and just talking with them and listening to them, they show up for their appointment. And I try and get them in within 24 to 48 hours if I can. But if not, maybe they come in a week. But I really try not to push them out too far, or I know they're not going to show up. But yeah, I really found that just building that relationship with them and building that ARC helps. I mean, we have a patient.
Oh, go ahead. I think I was gonna just take that out of your mouth because you're the patient today. Is that what you're gonna say?
Oh no, I was gonna say last week she was
Yeah.
actually scheduled in November and then she scheduled in September, in November. And then she called me right before, October, and she was like, I want to come in sooner. And she did. And I think she's coming in to close.
Yeah,
next
she's
week.
paying $50,000 on Monday.
So
And even
And what was the story you were going to share, Dr. Rich?
Yeah, so even today I had a patient who, she came in, her face is all swollen. She's seeing that dentist that's been just trying to put out fires over time. She was at the urgent care over the weekend to get an antibiotic, and she called us yesterday. Her husband actually called us because she didn't even want to call herself. And their husband's like, they want to see you tomorrow. And she's like, I can't even open. I'm in pain. And he's like, that's more of a reason to go see them. So she came in today, couldn't open very well. She's in tears for multiple reasons. It was the first time that, she sat down with a dentist and we listened to her concerns. We looked at a full picture, not just, hey, we have to fix this tooth and that tooth and this tooth and that tooth. And she's super on board. And a lot of it's because she even said, if you guys didn't have this, opening so quick for me, I don't know what I have done, because in the past you go on antibiotic and then you just wait a year or two.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And was it a convenient time for me to see the patient? No, it's not at all. But she came in and I ran behind on some of my stuff, but I'm here and I've earned these circles around my eyes. So
Sometimes we operate on the ask permission later and we just pick up on his schedule. We built a good way of qualifying these people where we know if we're typically sliding someone in a not so convenient spot, he knows that it's most likely going to pay off.
Beautiful. And let's touch on that. Let's go right there, because this is one question that came up in the poll. We'll probably end up circling back, like how much follow-up. Beth, people here don't realize how much follow-up. And then, when you're sending out outgoing communication to reach somebody, it's not just a phone call, it's a voicemail, it's a text message, it's an email, and then we're going to send it again, and we're going to send a testimonial, and hey, check this out. Like, it is constant. But on that point, let's take this up with regards to kind of the process and how much is being done to get that person. We'll take that up if we need to, but then what do we do to get that person in? And how do we make sure we're not taking an hour to 2 hours of Dr. Rich's time, blanking it out, and then that person doesn't show? So first, what's the cost of the consultation? If so, I know the cost, but that's a question that's come up. And then how do we make certain that, we're not ending up chewing up Dr. Rich's time? And how do we, how much is his time and how much is your time?
Basically, we have it down to a really good flow. Dr. Rich has 2 assistants, which does help out a lot. But Dr. Rich works typically 3 columns of production, sometimes 4 if we squeeze them in there. But 1 column is dedicated only to consults. So his assistants rotate whether they're the main production or whether they're handling the side production. So we block out the consults for an hour, but Dr. Rich is typically only spending 10, 15 minutes with these patients because we have such a flow. So
say that one more time, Kathleen. How many minutes is the doctor spending typically?
10, 15, if that.
Good. And doctor, can you just touch on that? What are you covering? Where do you pick it up from? Where do you hand it off to? And what, and then we'll take up what happens from there.
Yeah,
sure. So yeah, I mean, if it's 15 minutes, that's a lot. That means that I really think it's going to close and something's going to happen. The flow is, Beth does her thing, gets the patient in the door. They come in, they fill out paperwork. One of my assistants will grab the patient, reiterate kind of why they're there, also reading the communication that Beth had before. So she's kind of reiterating what's going on, takes a 3D scan, sits the patient down, comes to me, tells me what's going on, shows me the scan. I look at the scan, I pop in, and first off, I have to determine one, if it is an actual full arch patient. Some patients think they're full arch or they think they need to lose all their teeth. If they do, then we're there for full arch. If they don't, then my brain goes a different way. So I'm kind of like figuring out exactly what they need as I walk in the room. So if they are a full arch, perfect, we can go that route. And then if they are not full arch, I'll say, I know that you thought that you need to lose your teeth or a replacement of all your teeth is your only option. The good news is I got a 3D scan today, and it actually showed that it's not your only option. And is it okay if I talk to you about another option where we could actually fix your teeth or restore the smile using some of the teeth you have? Is that something you're interested in? And a lot of times he's like, oh, really? Well, I didn't know that was an option to fix my teeth. Like, it is. And I'm a dentist. I don't only do full arch. I don't just have one toolbox. The good thing about our practice is that we have that, but then we also have ways to fix your teeth. In your case, we can discuss both options. If we want to go down the pathway of keeping some teeth and fixing your teeth, we will need to do some additional x-rays. The x-ray we did today, the 3D scan, which will tell you we don't actually charge for, which was free. The free scan we did today tells me your bone health, tells me if you have infection, tells me if you need to have your teeth out or not. So the good news is that's not necessary. What I do need though is do you ever have those little x-rays that go in your mouth yeah, I've had that before. I'm like, good. So those are high definition. They take pictures of all your teeth and gums. And with that way, I can diagnose your gum health, your cavities and things like this. So for $199, we can take those x-rays today. And then you give me a bunch of homework. We're going to take some picture photos. And I'm going to sit down and I want to actually spend the appropriate time that you need for your mouth. Because you've mentioned before, most people say, I've never actually went over a full picture. You mentioned before that, you've never had someone kind of tell you, I want to tell you the end zone and how we're going to get there. I don't want to just put out all these fires and before you know, nothing fits. So is it okay with you if we take those x-rays today? It's going to be $199 and you gave me a bunch of homework and then we're going to get you back next week or the week after at a convenient time to go over that. So if they're not an implant consult, I'm going to be swinging them over. It takes 5 minutes of me speaking. Kathleen, Beth, or someone will come in. They'll pay the $199. We'll grab an assistant. We'll do the FMX. We'll take all the record keeping. Now I have that patient as a really good consult for next week where I have all the data. I know they're going to show up and I have an appropriate treatment plan that I can present to them. So that's one bucket. The other bucket is that they're actual full arch. In that case, then, go over their x-rays. I'll talk to them after I looked at their x-rays and just literally go through their ruin. What is their ruin? Why are they here? Have they seen?
Can you touch on that, Dr. Rich? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but so say I'm the patient. I think ruin finding is a very important point. And some people think, well, you're making the person feel bad. Can you tell me exactly, or tell everybody exactly what that means to you?
Yeah. So, the way that I think about it is like, pain is a motivator, right? So a lot of our patients come in to see the dentist after 20 years. They've got so much fear that they haven't been in, but now they have pain and they have to actually do something. So in that case, pain, which is their ruin, is their motivator. So a patient coming in, they have a reason why they've called you up. They've got a reason why they went on Facebook and they've searched. They know why they're coming in. And their ruin could be, I can't chew anymore. It can be, my grandkids made fun of my teeth. It could be a number of things. I've got a 50th high school reunion that I want to go and I want people to see my beautiful smile. So you first have to figure that out. And we can't walk in the room saying, hey, I know why you're here, because you don't. I know why you're here. I see your x-ray, but why are you here? And then you have to figure out their reason. And then your solution always goes back to the reason. I don't throw in other stuff. I might say you have infection that's not healthy for you, which they should know, but that shouldn't be the main focus. The main focus is why they're here. So if it's because I want my high school reunion, then I am talking about your high school reunion. I'm talking about your smile. I'm talking about how efficient our process is, why the other ways of fixing your teeth are going to be too long for us to actually hit that time frame. So you have to really focus your conversation towards that, because that's going to be real to them. And that's going to be the reason why they're going to actually take things place. And Beth, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was going to say too, finding ruin. I also typically ask people on the phone, like, did something happen to you recently that has made you look into this? Because a lot of our patients, it's been forever since they've seen a dentist. So I do like to ask that question as well.
Good. And what kind of responses do you typically get, Beth?
Yeah, usually it's like, either something recently broke or now they're in pain. Those are two of the biggest ones I usually get.
Yeah. Or it could be, I looked at a family photo and there I am. I refuse to smile, but I look like the only person who's not having a good time.
Yeah. Or like I'm a grandparent or about to be a grandparent. My daughter's having a kid.
Family weddings.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always a kid.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So to back it up a little bit, so you've created this identity. Well, the identity was created through the marketing funnel. It came in as a lead. Beth, you've nurtured it. You've gotten that person scheduled. That comes with a coupon, full mouth scan, right?
Yep.
And they can redeem that and they can come in. And do you have any qualifying questions to make sure that it's not just somebody who's a tire kicker or a time waster? What do you do to make certain that, this doesn't sound like a good fit already?
Before I ask any sort of qualifying questions, I like ask them questions about themselves and what's going on and, what they're thinking. And I do ask them, are you thinking you need full mouth? You thinking you maybe only need a couple implants, just to kind of see where they're at? And then I also ask them, have they done any sort of research on their own? Have they seen another office? Have they just done research online? Because some people say no, they have no idea. And then I typically will kind of go into, what we have to offer, how we're different. And then I kind of give them a price range based off of what they said they were looking for. And I do
Right in that phone call, you're saying, I'm not a doctor. I haven't
Yeah.
seen your mouth, but
Yes.
kind of based on what you're talking about, we're probably
Yes.
looking in the range of this. And then what happens?
And then that's where I kind of get the feeling for where they are. Some people are like, well, I had multiple consultations. I kind of know. And then I say, we have financing. We have a lot of different financing companies, some with interest free, some that go out to 12 years. So we can help find a monthly payment for you. And in that survey that they initially fill out, they put what their credit score range is and if they have a cosigner. So then we talk about financing, we talk about credit score, and then we talk about if they have a cosigner if they need it.
This is all happening in a phone call before the patient walks in.
Yeah.
This was a problem that we had. The problem was we would have so many implant leads and they'd come in and there'd be so many people that had no idea. Oh, I thought your implants were free. We used to get that a lot. Or I thought implants were $500 or something like this. Or I thought you accepted Medicaid and it wouldn't have to pay anything out of pocket. So I'd have a lot of leads. I'm excited. We got 7-8 consults in a day. But I'd hate to say we're wasting our time, but we're kind of wasting our time because the reality and their ability to actually follow through the treatment wasn't true. So now what we did is we switched up along with, with speaking with Beth and Kathleen and Blumberg Digital, where we do have that conversation of money over the phone. And that gives them a realistic view on what's, where we are. And my number of leads in office have decreased, but the ones that come in already are maybe not qualified yet, but they know exactly what the range is, which is good for me because I'd rather have less consults and people who are, like you said, there's no tire kickers. I'm not, because I got 3 columns at the same time of patients. So I'm not like, spending a lot of time somewhere that's not going to actually follow through the treatment. So it's a good filter. It's like our funnel became a little bit more tighter after we put in that question, because now the people that come in do know that it's going to be the cost of a car. And if it's not the cost of a car because you have another way, they're happy about it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So to tell everybody here who's attending, what we're talking about is, so all this, like the scripts, like what Beth is saying and those qualifying questions, we have all that. And for those of you on the dental implant funnel, you have those. If you don't, you definitely should. That's all part of this. And then of course you have to get, some drilling to get comfortable with it. And then it's not a perfect science. Not every time does a person give their honest credit score, etc. But what we're doing is their feedback to the marketing team is saying, oh, we're getting a lot of leads, but not really a lot of qualified ones. Let's tighten it up and let's change this. So it's not just the marketing team. We're going to get better qualifying questions and we're going to be a little bit more stern on that point. And then that person walks in, they get in their free scan, all that's brought to you, doctor, right? And before you go in and see that patient. So there's been a discussion that has happened prior to you walking in, that both on the phone and then also in the practice. So Kathleen, can you talk about the process prior to that? How long has that patient been in the practice before Dr. Rich enters the room?
Typically, before Dr. Rich enters the room, the patient has only been in the practice as long as their paperwork was done ahead of time, which, as we all know, doesn't always happen. Probably about 10 minutes before Dr. Rich comes in. Typically, we put them in a specific room in the office and they're in that room for 10 minutes. Dr. Rich comes in, talks to them for 5-10 minutes, and they're already routed to the consult room. So of that hour time, they're really only spending 20-25 minutes in an operatory.
Good. Good. And then, so Dr. Rich comes in, does that, and it could go, like you said, 2 buckets. Dr. Rich, it could be a restorative case. It's not really, would restorative include a single or 2 implants, or would that be an implant case?
I mean, there would be anything that's not full arch. I would say it's a restorative case. Yeah. And then when I do go in the room, I'll also, of course, do an exam. I'll look in their mouth, have the conversation with them. And then when it's time for me to say, okay, great, I want to go over some options with you. I want to move you in a more comfortable room. And then that's when the team will bring the patient to the consult room. And then depending on the comfort, or if I'll ask, hey, are you interested in seeing your 3D scan? It's a lot easier to interpret than regular x-rays. I can kind of feel that out. If a person's super in fear, they don't want to know anything, then I won't even bring it up. But if they're a little bit more inquisitive, they've had consults at other offices where they haven't been super transparent, I don't mind showing them the 3D, because you can click on a button, you can literally see the skull, and you can show them, hey, see that big hole? That's not supposed to be there. That's a tooth draining pus. So that does give them some reality. But of course, I'll check in with them first if they're interested in that. If they're interested, then I'll walk with them up to 3D. I'll give them a 3-minute orientation on what I'm seeing, kind of the problems that are going on, always going back to their specific ruin. And then we bring them up to the consult room.
Beautiful.
So
Sure.
once they're in the consult room, if they've already had other consults, they really know a lot about implants and things like that, Dr. Rich hands them over to Beth or I. One thing that's extremely important is anyone who's talking treatment in your office needs to have a lot of experience in all these procedures. We have a rule basically is once we're in the consult room with a patient and that door is shut, we are not leaving until we come to some sort of end, whether they're closing on treatment, we're doing impressions, moving forward with a cosigner, but we don't leave the room. So Beth and I know all the ins and outs of the surgery. We can answer all the questions. I've assisted a couple. Beth has looked at a lot of photos of them. So we know exactly what to expect. So we take it over from there. We're just very tight with our handoffs. So Dr. Rich comes in, tells us exactly what we're looking for, the exact dollar amount. We type up the treatment plans. He tells us what tone the patient's in. He gives us a little short background on the patient. So Beth and I know exactly what we're walking into, exactly what's been discussed. So we never have to leave to go get him. It's just very A to B. We know everything walking in. We walk in with our treatment plan, and then we start the whole cycle of talking about finances.
Fantastic. And typically, let's talk a full arch case, start to finish from the time they walk in the office and the time they're walking out, time-wise?
Less than an hour.
Less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If we're doing impressions, usually around 45 minutes.
Okay, good. A couple questions in the chat. One person said, I'm a little bit confused on the two things. So are we doing 2 consults? I think you clarified that, Dr. Rich. So if the person is not a full arch case and it looks like it's going to restorative, you say, okay, good. It looks like we're going to do these, conventional x-rays and why that is. Get those done. Close that person for the $200 and then set up a follow-up consult. If it's a full arch, you're going forward as planned.
Correct.
Great. Good. So that's that. And then which financing companies are you getting the most success with? I had a patient and he didn't qualify. I didn't know where to go. Another person said, what is the finance company that does the 12 years? So if you could touch on that, Kathleen.
So we work with a number of different financing companies. When it comes to this kind of treatment, typically we stick with Lending Club, Proceed, and then Care Credit has Pay Monthly. It used to be Allegro previously. It's through the same Care Credit application, but those are the big 3 that we use. Lately, we've had the most success with Lending Club.
Great. Give that again, the names again, slowly.
Yep. So Lending Club, Proceed, and then Care Credit has their over 9,500 option called Pay Monthly. Yeah.
Beautiful. And then talk just a second on how these finance companies change all the time and how you keep your finger on the pulse.
So we work as a team. So if I'm getting a lot of denials on Lending Club or Beth is getting a lot on Proceed, we both have access to the dashboards. We're talking about it. But something that we always set up when we talk to our patients about financing is it can be very defeating if you get a denial on financing, especially, not everyone knows that like a perfect credit score. So they're like, oh, I've been working really hard on my credit. It's a 680. It's so great. I'm really proud of myself. You never want to invalidate that. So we know that we have some lenders that might approve that. There'd be a big down payment. There'd be more interest, but it's worth a shot. So we always start the conversation by saying, that's great. Really proud of you. What we're going to do is we can look into these financing companies. Just before we do that, I just want you to know that these companies fluctuate week to week. They sometimes approve everybody. Sometimes they approve nobody. It really depends on the week. So we're going to do these applications. If it's a no, then we have other options we can talk about. Nothing against you. These companies, sometimes it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for us too. They won't even tell us why. You'll get a letter in the mail in 2 weeks, but where there's a will, there's a way. So we're willing to help you figure it out. So we'll try these companies. If it doesn't work, then we have some other options we can talk about, but let's just take it one step at a time.
Beautiful. Kathleen, you took that tip because, we had Sabri come on and do a tip of the week of MGE. Like you give that orientation before you do the credit app.
Before I even pull out the iPad.
Why? Why?
Because it can be very defeating. And as soon as the patient focuses on that, that's their new ruin. They don't care about what we've talked about. They're just so focused on, they said, no, this is never going to happen. And you can see physically from when we used to have it, is they're all excited. They're talking about treatment, and then they get a denial, and you just watch them slump in the chair. And all of a sudden you lose eye contact. They're just ready to go. Don't want to talk to you anymore. So setting that up before has made it so even if we get a denial, they're like, okay, what's the next option? Like they're already thinking ahead instead of just thinking at a stop.
Yeah, it's a pearl of a datum that Sabri Blumberg laid out for free in an MGE tip. You give that orientation. Listen, we're about to submit this. One thing I want to tell you, the person's like, yeah, my credit's pretty good. Look, listen. And one thing before we do, we've seen some wild things with regard to credit companies, people who should be being approved, sometimes are not being approved. And people who probably shouldn't be approved are being approved like it's nuts. So we're going to give it a shot. And sometimes you can even say, but listen, say it doesn't get approved. What would be another avenue? And you could even, so what Kathleen is saying and what Sabri originated on this whole thing is you're getting that person to go, okay, I got a plan B just in case. So the person, you're not losing that person. Everybody thumbs up if that makes sense. I need to see your cameras on. I need to see the thumbs up that you understand that orientation. Beautiful datum right there. Thank you. I think people are in disbelief. Wait, you're saying the consult is free. So how do you manage the no-shows? So talk on that point.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, no-shows really have decreased since we started building just ARC on the phone. But in terms of no-shows, if it happens, we pretty much don't reschedule. And if they want to reschedule, we charge them.
So you talk about A, R, and C, and maybe even some of the people here have never been to MGE. So affinity, reality, and communication. But even for those that know what that is, what are you doing, Beth, to create affinity, reality, and communication over the phone in that first phone call?
Yeah, I mean, just listening to them, talking to them, finding out exactly why they're calling us, why they're interested in implants. And yeah, just getting to know them. I mean, I talked to some guy yesterday about the Adirondack Mountains. I was like, call me if you have any questions. He's like, you shouldn't say that because I might call you.
That's great.
To go off of what Beth said, I mean, we build that ARC so much is that Beth was out last week and the week before. I had 3 patients come in for consults that asked me to see her wedding photos because she had never met them, but over the phone, she found that common point. She had said to them, listen, I'm not going to be in the office. I'm getting married. And these patients came in so excited to see wedding photos of Beth, and they've never met her. She just took that time to build that relationship with them.
And I'm going to tell you that leads into the next section, which I just can't tell you enough. I've fortunately not only had the chance to go to Salvatore Dental, but I have been a patient of Salvatore Dental. Knowing the team, I wasn't there to kind of figure out how I was going to be handled as a patient. I went there and I observed how they actually handle their other patients from all over the emotional tone scale, from the very low to the, decently high. If you understand this point, and if you see this in motion, A, R, and C, affinity, reality, communication is the foundation that everything is built on. And if you don't know how to build that, then you need to redo your ABC communication sales seminar. And on that point, you guys have done it. I mean, Dr. Rich, you even helped deliver it, but would you say that it might be valuable to redo those every now and again, Kathleen?
I would say it's extremely valuable to not only do those, any technology that you have learned through MGE to refresh on it is so eye-opening, and you realize things that you miss, right? We're human. So sometimes the first time over a material, you don't pick up everything. So the more times you go over it, the more certain you become in it, and the more you're able to just function in it. So it's something that I would definitely recommend.
Yeah. And Dr. Rich, your thoughts on that?
Oh, I mean, for sure. Like our team does the ABCs at least once a year. We're always doing training. DDS Success is an amazing avenue that we use for all of our team. Even the first step when someone is hired here, we get them on DDS Success, and we have a whole lineup of what they're going to do to learn first of all off ARC and learn how our office functions and make sure that they're jiving with our MGE office, because we want to make sure that everyone's on board. So DDS Success is huge. We do a lot of team trainings. These patients are spending a lot of money. If you're going to spend $50,000 on your mouth, if I'm going to spend $50,000 on anything, I'm not going to go to one car dealership. I'm not going to talk to one architect. I'm not going to talk to one builder. And this is that significant of a purchase where these patients are going to go other places. Do they come to us as a first and close? Yes, it does happen. But I even encourage them, like, listen, you're spending a lot of money. Like what I do, I interview 3 people and come back, and I have confidence in that. But they feel that our office is different. There's ARC, but then we also have the clinical skills to back it up. And one thing we didn't really touch on is once a patient's in the consult room and I'm sitting with them, or or Kathleen, Beth are sitting with them, we have a lot of stuff to show them, a lot of mass. We don't violate any of the barriers of study, which is the first course you take at MGE. So when they sit down, first thing I'm going to show, here's our before and after album. We have maybe 80 of our cases printed out in the album, and I'll show, here's a full face before, full face after. And I want to show them something that's similar to them. If it's a mom, I'll show them a mom that's a similar age, similar issue. If it's, the teeth look too long, whatever it is. And I'll tell them, like, this is where we started. This is them a week later. This is them 3 months later. And a lot of times I'll take my finger and I'll put it over their mouth on the picture and say, listen, don't even look at their teeth. Look at their face. Their face is different. Their eyes are brighter. Everything looks different, and the patients can almost put themselves there. And then after they see that, then I'll move over to some more mass. I've got really nice models. I'll show them the models. Here's a dental implant, full arch. Here's a denture. Here's the difference. Put them in your hands. The denture weighs almost nothing. It's got to be light because it's made out of plastic. The full arch is made out of zirconia. It's really strong. Oh, wow. It's really like can you picture biting an apple with teeth like that? I can. So we use a lot of mass in the consult. We answer all of their clinical questions first, and then we'll move on. Okay, is there anything else clinically? Because we want to talk about the next section, which is usually time, money, etc. So we get that to the side, and then we'll switch over to the time, money.
Beautiful. So now I think that ties in with what I want to take up. So we talk about ARC, we talk about, you're talking to these people as people. They become friends almost immediately. And if you're uncomfortable with that, then that's an MGE point. A lot of questions came up on MGE. What training has Salvatore Dental done to be able to achieve this level of success? The biggest question that comes up on this is, what training from MGE do the office managers feel was most valuable? Mm-hmm. So office managers, let's start with you, Beth.
Yeah, I mean, the power program, obviously, is number one. But from the power program, I think just mastering case acceptance, that was a big one for me. Never sold anything. So that really helped.
Yeah, your past experience had been, I think, Old Navy, right?
Yeah. Read.
Yeah, good. Kathleen, can you comment on this?
Yeah, so I would also agree the power program was very instrumental for me. I liked it so much, I went back and did it again. But the other thing that I really love is just building on those basics. So Seminar A, Seminar B, Seminar C was incredible. Seminar A was actually the trip I went down with the team. And when we came back, that's when I walked into Dr. Vera's office and I said, how can I do more here? How can I grow? What can I do? I really like this. And that's when I asked her, can I do more training? And that's when we kind of initiated the power program. It was just because it was so eye-opening. But same thing, I mean, learning all the sales through the power program was really instrumental for me. I came from a background where my background's early childhood education. I worked at Panera making sandwiches. I did not sell them at all. So to be able to go from making sandwiches to saying, hey, your treatment's $56,000, MGE, I owe them everything. Along with digital, obviously, but it's the training. You just have to be able to learn and apply it. And I think something we've gotten really good at in our office is finding the people who want to learn it, want to grow with it, and really building them up. I think one of the most powerful things that Rich and Vera did for myself, and I'm sure Beth feels the same way, is they never said no when we asked to do more training. They never said, oh, you know what? We don't have time to send you down there if that's expensive. They both just said, okay, we'll make it work. When I came to them and said, hey, can I do the power program a second time? They said, okay. It was something where having two people that really care about your growth as a person, but also in the practice is huge. And I think as a doctor owner, that's one of the most powerful things you can do for your staff.
Amazing. Dr. Rich, comments on any of that? I know the question is around, what do the office managers consider, but I'd love your.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you really do have to invest in yourself, in your practice, and then the people around you, because I could be the most highly trained implant surgeon, salesman, whatever you want to say, but there's only one of me. And I have to, during a busy day, I can't have just some people say, hey, do you have a consult day? We don't have a consult day. We have every day where we see consults and we do production. So to have that, you need to have stable pillars. Like Beth and Kathleen, they can probably do better than I can in the consult room, because I will literally, if I'm running behind, I'm like, wait, you're taking this full bore. I literally just touch base with them quick. I'll hand them off to them. And then before you know it, they come out and there's paperwork and they're ready to go. But we invested a lot of time and money as a practice. And that's why I said I started MG 11 years ago. We didn't hit $1 million a month the month after we joined MGE. It took a long time, but our stats over time did increase because we did more and more training. 2017, pre-COVID, pre-MG, doing a lot of stuff online, we took 127 flights as a team. So our team flew down to Florida 127 times in 1 year. All my friends who are dentists think that Veer and I are insane because we're spending all this time and money on our team and we're doing training and they see all this stuff online, all these like crazy games we're playing and everything. But what did it do? Look where we are now. So you have to know it's you have to invest in proper marketing, but you have to also invest in your team to be able to handle that marketing.
Love it. Folks, everybody who's attending here, listen, you're going to get the non-social version of Dan Brown, meaning the non-like, hey, I'm running a webinar. I'm going to hit it right between the eyes. Of course, what we do from a marketing perspective is vital and important, and we do so well. The reason why we almost exclusively work with MGE clients is for the reasons you just heard. Now, what we have agreed to do is Britt and myself here and a number of others here at Blumberg Digital. If you want your training at MGE reviewed to see what could we do to be more like what I'm seeing and hearing right now, scan that QR code. We are going to work with MGE and give our data, the data you complete here, and send that over to MGE so we can get some custom training kind of lined up for you to tailor make it to where you and your team are able to emulate what you're seeing here. So please take a second to scan that QR code. If you don't have a second to do it, or you're watching from your phone, screenshot your phone and go there later. But I can't tell you how important this component is. It just cannot be stressed enough. So great on that point. I'm going to take up one of the next most interested points, and it's what marketing channels do you use? Before we go there, folks, I am going to show you something that is, and I'm just going to walk through because we monitor the progress of every one of these leads that come into you. We know exactly what happens prior to that actually happening. So I'm going to pull something up. I'm just certain you guys know this, but a person goes searching dental implants or dentist or, second opinion, whatever. We know exactly what's being searched in the area because we do what's called premium SEO for Salvatore Dental. Premium SEO. You've been on that, Dr. Rich, since years. Yeah, not cheap. I mean, it's $3,500 a month for everybody here, just full disclosure. And it sometimes takes 6, 8, 12, even 15 months to be able to get you ranking in the top searches. But we want the practice to show up at the top. When the practice shows up at the top, there are some elements that must be known. Kathleen,
Yes.
Beth, talk on the point of how often people mention your reviews, how important it is.
Reviews are essential. I mean, we can tell people all day long how great we think our office is, but our reviews are something that are invaluable, right? It's free marketing, basically. The only thing we ever spend money on is like review prizes. But our patients, frequently new patients, mention how they saw multiple practices pop up on Google, but ours had the best reviews. And they always say that they mentioned that we were clean office, that we were compassionate, and that people felt at ease. Anxiety is such a huge thing in dentistry. So those are big points that we have in our reviews.
Yeah.
And also they even call and they're like, hi, I saw all these reviews for Brittany. Can I get an appointment with Brittany? And that's one of our hygienists, or they'll mention somebody by name that they saw in the review. They've never met us, but they want to be scheduled specifically. Like, no, I see Brittany's your best hygienist. Like, please put me with her.
So you hear this a lot or rarely?
A lot.
Yeah.
I think almost every new patient mentions that they've seen us on Google, or that they've seen our reviews on Facebook, Google, anything. We get people that say they saw us on TikTok, but word of mouth from your patients is priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Folks in attendance, thumbs up if you got that message. I'm just telling you, it is so vital. And watch how easy this is. First of all, how many of you attendees are enjoying this content? Raise your hand. Okay, watch this. Good. If you are enjoying the content here and Blumberg Digital has helped you, go ahead and scan that QR code. We would love the feedback. Oh, and by the way, 5 people, if you do it properly. Now, this is important because this is what you got to do with patients. You got to have a patient just speak from their heart. You never can ask for a positive review, and I'm not asking anybody for a positive review, but you can ask for an honest review. Speak from your heart. The 3 components when a patient leaves a review, they choose their stars. Sometimes they don't even know what the stars mean. Well, what does that mean? 1 star, 5 star? Well, 1 isn't, like it didn't go well. 5, it was amazing. Oh yeah, it was great. Great. Thank you. Next is that they've got to fill out something, and you can't tell them what to fill out, but they're going to probably just say, what happened. The third, but not the least important thing is a photo. And they don't often see that. Click here to add a photo. So for anybody leaving a review, the 5 winners are going to be the people that come in with the most spirited, fun photos. Get in there, thumbs up, funny faced, like as much as I want your review, I want you to show me that you get the idea. Now you don't have to leave a review, but we're going to pick 5 of the best ones that really exemplify that you understand how to get a review. And the thing I want to tell you is how fast this is. Some of you have already done it. And then you did it before I said leave a photo. So you got to rescan that thing to add a photo if you want to win the Amazon gift card. But look what I'm doing. I'm putting in a game. You're not doing it because of the gift card. I mean, it'd be nice if you win, of course, but you're doing it because you got something out of this and it's a way to give exchange back. That's what your patients are doing. If you don't keep this at the top of your plate, it's a topmost item, you are absolutely wasting opportunity. Now, Kathleen, would you mind sharing probably how much, and Rich, close your ears for this one. How much do you guys spend on your games for your reviews for your team?
Yeah, so we play 2 different sets of games. So we have one for the patient, which our budget is usually around 100, 150. And then we have reviews for the team. We have games that way. And actually, he doesn't have to close his ears because the way that we get money to play games with the team is based off of how well our team performs each month. So if our team gets bonuses, then money goes into the review game incentive prize pot. So if they're not hitting these targets, then we can't buy them as nice of incentive prizes, and they know that. So they're pushing these targets. I mean, we play all different games. We sometimes put them in groups and do like a race to see who can get 5 first. We do different we do t-shirts. They all just got 15 reviews. So we did pink t-shirts for October. We do all different things. They've won Shania Twain tickets, Nespressos, all these crazy things, but they know the better they do in our overall game, which is like an income-based game, the better their incentive prizes are going to be. Periodically, we hand out surveys like, what do you want to see? And then when they tell us, okay, we really want like these fancy cutting boards, we really want Lululemon bags, we take that feedback and then they start the next month, someone's opening it and they're like, oh, that's what I wanted. And then it incentivizes them to next time work to hit those targets. So they're typically our games are review based, but we switch up the amount that they have to hit. Sometimes we do games where first person to get 3 gets to pull out of a bag. They get a bonus, like a monetary bonus. But typically our team really likes physical items. We're going to introduce a game with them in a few weeks where whoever gets the most reviews, if they hit a certain target, they'll get to pick who they have for Secret Santa. And I don't know if it's like that at other offices, but people, no offense, Dr. Rich, nobody wants Dr. Rich. He is the hardest person to buy for. So the girls are going to be fighting because, no offense, he's very difficult to buy a present for.
I think it's safe to say you spend hundreds of dollars each week. Yeah.
Credit cards have a monthly limit of 2,000 and we come close.
Yeah. So, I mean, just think about that, folks. But the patients say that it's important. Listen, I'm going to put it up on the screen again. Whether you leave a review or not, I want you all to at least go through the 3 steps. Please scan it. It should populate a Google business profile. Sometimes person's sitting there going, it's asking for a Gmail. What's a Gmail? Okay, but that person, doesn't understand or doesn't have a Google. It could be that they don't know their password and they're not logged in. You can move it over to Facebook. You can move it over to Yelp. But when you get there and you help them and walk them through that, it's worth the effort. It's worth walking over there and sitting with them. I left my glasses in the car. So no problem. Well, how about we just navigate? I'll tell you what the screen says, and then, I'll type it and then I'll read it back to you. Oh, would you do that for me? Well, of course I'll do that for you. You're doing this for me. So I want you all to scan this and look at those 3 component parts. Put it in the chat right now. What are the 3 component parts that you've got to kind of groove your patients in? Put it in the chat. Let's see who's going to be the winner. Who gets it? What are the 3 component parts? 3 component parts when they do a review.
I mean, we've had girls who have helped patients sign up for Google Mail accounts in the office so that they could leave a review. So
how does that work? Like give an example.
So we have a new patient coordinator. She's very passionate about winning things. So if you play the right games, people want to play them. Where we had a couple of patients that were like, I don't have a Gmail, I have a Yahoo. And she was like, no problem. Gmail's where it's at. Let me help you sign up for an account. Is that something you're okay with? And they literally create Gmail accounts.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And then for the photo, you guys have set up kind of like an area where people can go, and you do like a little, step and repeat booth. But I mean, that photo could be anywhere. You could get around in there, give them a hug, take a selfie with them on their phone. I just want you guys to get in there. This is easy and it's fun. And what do the patients, do they feel harassed, Kathleen?
No, a lot of times our patients actually are frequently updating their reviews, which is something where like every time we ask, they're like, oh, I left you one, but I can update it. We've never had a patient say that they feel harassed or anything. It's just something that we just make part of our normal routine. And I think they almost know at this point, like when you leave, can you update your review?
Beautiful.
Just become routine for them.
Beautiful. Good. So a person searched, they found this. If your reviews are in rough shape, or if they're too few, you're gonna waste that lead. Doesn't mean you're not going to get leads, but you are the most reviewed practice in your area and probably a broad area. And so there's that. The next point, click on photos. Look at this. I can see the practice. Some drone footage. Couldn't imagine who did that. Actually, Dr. Salvatore is much like myself. We're both, gadget freaks. So I'm certain he's the pilot. Before and after photos, before and after photos, before and after photos, practice outside and inside. But culture, people love kids, animals, they love team training, they love before and after, they love before and after, they love before and after. They love to see patients being cared for and people being real, people just literally being who they are. And you could do a stage photo now and again, but your accomplishments, your accolades, what you contribute towards, Smiles for Veteran program that you guys did, supporting Beth and making it known, like, thank you for your service, and featuring that on your social media, any sort of continuing education, whether it's clinical or otherwise, before and after photos, before and after photos. If you're going to show an operatory photo, make sure that it's not scary and gory, but show me what you are and who you are outside this practice. Show me the results you get. Show me the enthusiasm you have to take care of good people, what you do in the community, and that you celebrate, not just the practice, but each other and the community. This is your opportunity for free by Google to give people a virtual tour through your practice, really making it known who and what you are, what you stand for, what you support, the results you get, that you can cut it up and be fun, that you really do care for certain programs and people and strong support, that the team has a great time, that you play games, that you support Toys for Tots and other relatively universally supported projects, that you take care of each other and even outside the practice. This is the next step. Then after that, and there was a great question that came in. What happens from there? Well, they're going to commonly do this. They have yet to pick up the phone to call you. They're going to go through your website, which better not have one stock photography, element on it. No stock photos, all real photos. You better have a smile gallery. I don't care if you do implants or not, but better have a smile gallery, and you better have testimonials, and you better have some, that's your implant funnel if you've got one, your social proof, and more social proof. And show me the stories. Show me this.
Ready? So we're not even 24 hours from us taking out your teeth, putting in implants, and then today we delivered the new smile, so take a look.
Oh, shit. Yo. Oh, my God. Yo, I'm handsome again. Oh, my God, Doc.
Is that wild or what?
Yo, Doc. Oh, my God.
Smile, smile, smile. Isn't that crazy?
Thank you, man.
Okay, raise your hand if you got touched in the heart on that a little bit even. Raise your hand. Yeah. It hits me every single time. And you'll see this over and over. You got to have these testimonials right on page one. You got to be able to meet the skilled team. You got to be able to see where they are, anything they talk about, helping the community. And a person can explore quickly and easily from any of this. But right at the top, always right at the top, every single channel. And I can click here. This isn't pre-rehearsed. They've got some pinned stuff right at the top, before and after right there. Celebrating the team. Happiest of birthdays to our incredible lead surgical coordinator.
And I'm gonna cut in real quick. Go up a little bit. The one that we posted yesterday, that's just a denture right there. So you don't even need to do a full arch. That's a denture case.
Nice.
It looks great. He's happy. He's smiling. And I'm training. I do a full arch course at MGE, but a lot of them are saying, Rich, I don't have before and after photos. Take a before and after photo of a denture. It's you're still completely restoring their mouth.
Yeah, chipped tooth, stained teeth, crooked teeth, anything that would substantiate that. And then they do these videos. you know, which I can't do the audio because we'll get tagged on YouTube, but they do. How many of these a week, Kathleen? The fun stuff.
Yeah, so typically we try and film anywhere between 5 to 6 a week.
Mhm.
I have one core group of team members who love to be on social media, and I've built them up with that. I gave them custom content team sweatshirts, like really just feed into that. Dr. Rich gets tricked into being in videos a lot. Sometimes we can convince him, but we have team members that just love it. They love doing it. So we really just kind of build that up. But typically like 5 to 6 TikToks a week, and then I'm grabbing other photos. I like to have a bank to build from too. So I don't always post them the week that I film them. Sometimes I film them like a month prior, and then I post them when I'm like, this would be a great time to do that one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Could you tell me collectively how much time you spend on that, on the goofy stuff that makes Dr. Rich and I cringe because we're old?
15, 20 minutes.
Okay. Total or each?
Total. I have the girls send me videos, and then I just water down like what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, what would work well. I've kind of seen what's gotten more likes. So people like the goofy things like that. And we filter them down, and then we just kind of choose and we go boom, boom, boom. We filmed 5 videos the other day in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah. And just so you all know, people love kids and pets. I mean, look at that engagement, 64 others, 30 comments. People love things that don't have to necessarily always do with dental. And here's Beth and, you know, going off to get married, and, you know,
A wedding does not get you out of doing a TikTok.
yeah. But it's all about the practice, not just what the practice achieves, but what is, you know, yeah, of course, patient testimonials and before and after, but also what is inside this practice and who are the people, and people can see, I can approach this group. So Kathleen, if you could just touch on the importance of social media and the presence, because here's what happens. And then Rich, I'm going to have you talk briefly on your thoughts about it, but people say, that's not who I am. I can't get around that. It's just, so Kathleen.
I totally understand that some people are uncomfortable with social media. That's why I don't force it on my team, except for Dr. Rich and Dr. Vera. They have to, they don't get a free pass. But social media has been something that all of our patients are now commenting on. We have patients coming in that say, please make sure I'm a testimonial. I want to be on your Facebook. I want to see myself on your TikTok. But social media really allows patients to see who you truly are. They come in and typically they see a hygienist for 40 minutes, then they're in, they're out, but it allows them to see the behind the scenes, that our team actually has fun together, what we like to do. It really kind of removes that barrier that's usually there between a provider and a patient, and it makes us more real to them. They know that they can talk to us about it, about anything, right? We saw that you guys went to a concert. We saw that you guys were volunteering at Toys for Tots. I love Toys for Tots. It's something that really is a conversation starter, but our patients, it gets hysterical. They love it. They're always commenting on it, and they want to be in them a lot of times. So social media is essential. We had a case close. It was 74,000 off of TikTok because it was a video of Dr. Rich dancing. And they said, he seems down to earth. He could do my treatment. And then it was a husband and wife close on treatment.
Thank you. And Dr. Rich, I remember our conversations. First of all, just so you all know, Beth, Kathleen, Dr. Rich, nowhere on social media. Are you comfortable with me saying that when we first started?
Yes.
So Dr. Rich, we had our first conversation. You need to get active on social media. This was years ago. And then you started, and then you got the girls going, and then you couldn't stop them. Can you give the thoughts? You said, you swore to me you'd never be the dancing dentist, but they got you. They got you.
Yeah.
But give your thoughts to the people out there that are like, it's not really me.
The way I look at social media, like Facebook, we have Facebook that's kind of like more of our testimonials before and afters. We do have like some TikToks and things. Then TikTok is more of just like more fun kind of way, because it's a different avenue. So we started on Facebook, and I was a little uncomfortable in front of the camera. I'm okay smiling with the patient, thumbs up. And then Dan and his team said, Rich, you really need to start talking, for marketing. You need to like read a script, or not even read a script, but just answer questions. Eventually got a little bit more comfortable. It's always cringe as anything when you're first watching yourself speak in front of a camera. So for a while, I was okay there. Listen, I'll do some before and after photos with patients. I'll speak with them. I'll do some reveals, getting a little bit. And then we had so many times where team members, at least 5-6 times, team members say, can we start a TikTok? And I'm like, no, we can't. We started talking TikTok. Can we start a TikTok? And finally I said, fine, we can start a TikTok. What I found with that is, of course, the patients do love it, but it's an amazing kind of team building resource too. We're in dentistry. Some days are not super fun. We have patients who are in pain. Sometimes the crown doesn't see, something happens and you feel, it's a tough day. We don't have easy days all the time, but the team, they'll say, let's just do a TikTok at work or at lunch. Let's do one after lunch. And, I walk in and the lights are off and there's music pounding. I'm like, what is going on? They're filming something or other. So even just for the team, I mean, honestly, the team is very happy. We had a hygienist call and ask if she could work at our office. We have people reaching out to work for us because they see us on social media, where before we're spending months and months and months trying to find someone to come work. Now people are asking to actually come work for us because, hey, your office seems like a lot of fun. And the patients too, like they want to come somewhere that they feel comfortable. It's an easy avenue just to be yourself, because patients want a dentist who's real to them, the reality point on an ARC. So what you see in me on social media, like I might be dancing, but you also see behind my eyes, I don't want to be doing this. This is not really.
We don't do close-ups.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of sometimes I'm rolling my eyes and things, but no, just kidding on that end. But they get to know who I am. And a lot of times they'll come in and say, hey, Dr. Rich, how you doing? They haven't met me before, but they feel like they have. And then I'm just myself. I mean, if you want, and I tell patients like at Salvatore Dental, I'm going to be your dentist for treating your mouth. A lot of places you've got your dentist, you've got a surgeon, and you've got a lab. We do pretty much all our in-house lab work. So here it's just me and you. So this is what you're getting. Communication is going to be straight from me to you. If you love me, that's great. If you don't, then it might not be the best place for you. And they usually chuckle at that. But it's like literally you're getting me and you're getting the longevity of our practice. We've been here we just celebrated 91 years. So it's not like a fly-by-night kind of place where we're going to fix your teeth and disappear. So Beautiful. Yeah, it's a way to really just communicate and to show yourself for free to everyone out there, your practice and you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Good. Now I'm going to get down to brass tacks for everybody. This is where it comes down to. The numbers tell the tale. This is just on the marketing implant funnel. And you can take a look at the key metrics and performance. And we're being very transparent right now. This is not all the Google ads and all the SEO. And this is just the implant funnel that we do with Salvatore Dental. You can see at the very last column, the return on investment. Some months, 979%, over 1,000%. Some months, negative 62%. Some months, negative 80%. Cumulative, though, since January through September, 528% return on investment. There's a number of things that go into that. And I'm going to say this right now. First of all, how many of you here would like that kind of return on investment? Just raise your hand. Even Salvatore Dental's raising their hand. We're going to do this today. Before you scan this and agree to this, we're going to take 5 offices that want to get going on this dental implant funnel, and we're going to make you into very similar as the transformation has occurred with Salvatore Dental. Before you agree to that, these are for existing dental implant clients. We're going to have you reach out to your account managers. You're going to say, listen, I'm ready to go. For people who are new to Blumberg Digital or new to the dental implant funnel, we're going to take 5 people on, and you are agreeing to do your 20%. Now, we will tell you how to do that 20%, but you are going to have to do that 20%, okay? We're going to take 5 new dental implant clients, and we're going to put the supercharger on. But I want you to understand that you're going to be underneath that hood with us. This is not like over to you guys. So scan that if you're interested in that. For those of you who are existing implant funnel clients, you're going to have to reach out to your account manager and say, listen, I'm ready to go. And realize that comes with a commitment. That commitment initially is going to be a little bit heavier than probably what Dr. Rich and Kathleen and Beth have to deal with on a daily and weekly basis, because they've got the routine grooved in and there's a bit of a hump. But let's talk about that, Dr. Rich, going over that hump and through that hump. Worth it?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah, totally worth it. But I want to go back to that 528%.
Yep.
Because I actually think it's higher than that, because these are patients who have come through and clicked, and we know exactly where they came through. But we have so many people that come in that say, I saw you in a number of places, right? So they could have seen us on the Blumberg Digital ad, and then they saw us on Facebook, and then they saw us here, then they saw us there. So literally our only marketing we do is Blumberg Digital. So it says like, one month we did, our highest month we did 216,000 from this. But if you look at that actual month, we might have had 850,000, and a huge chunk of that was from our full arch implants. So I think this is the lowest line of our actual ROI, because it's trackable. Because I mean, how many times, Kathleen and Beth, do we have someone who said we can't really track exactly where they came from?
Yeah. not only that, but we do have, I know for a fact, patients that have come through our Blumberg Digital funnel who they got treatment, but then they referred another full arch patient. So that's another $25,000, $50,000 that's not being tracked in that, because they were word of mouth referrals from a Blumberg Digital patient. So it just really does spider web out.
Yeah, or we'll do the other arches. Some patients, we do the top first, and then we'll do the lower, when they're ready. A lot of husband and wife. We've got, ton of referrals. We have a son, a father, son, two brothers. We don't really track that.
Yeah, makes sense. Appreciate you saying that. This process is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. I think, Dr. Rich has confirmed that. Like I said earlier, for those of you who are existing Blumberg Digital clients and you're ready to throw the supercharger on, you just reach out to your account manager. With that, we're going to be building assets with you. That's before and after photos, testimonials. How many testimonials, Kathleen, would you say that you average in a month?
In a month, I would say we try and usually do between like 5 to 10.
Yeah.
It really does depend. I have some patients that really want one. I just got one back this morning from being edited. I know you've seen,
beautiful.
but she asked. A lot of times,
ask
patients, do you want to film a testimonial? But there's some people who see those testimonials. Beth and I use them in treatment plan presentation. They're on our websites, and then they ask to be a testimonial. They really want to help because they realize the impact that the testimonial they saw had on them, and their focus then becomes having that impact on someone else. And I know the one you saw that I just got back this morning, she is over the moon, very emotional, but her main reason for wanting to be a testimonial was that she wants someone else to feel the way she feels.
Sure. And there are a lot of component parts in making this all happen. We're going to walk you through every single one of those parts. I am going to ask if you got something out of today and this has been helpful. Last chance. We're going to be choosing our names here in the next 7 minutes. Remember the 3 points. I think it's absolutely fantastic that you all came on. Everybody, I don't know what you all think. Put your comments in the chat. If you got something out of this, we'd love to know what you got out of it. Put your comments in the chat. I can't thank you enough for sharing this. And Dr. Rich, Kathleen, Beth, thank you for this. And love to hear what everybody else has to say. Any last thoughts, Dr. Rich?
Yeah, going back, because I didn't really answer your question about, initially there is going to be more work. You have to kind of build up, a database of material to use for marketing. So you have a lot more meetings in the beginning. I did a lot of question and answer. So Kathleen will stand and she'll ask specific questions, and I'll just stand there and speak about dental implants or this or that, the other thing. And then of course we send everything to Blumberg Digital. You guys edit it all. And the funny thing is we have all these testimonials coming out where we have it down pat, where sometimes it's usually not me anymore. It's always Kathleen or Beth that's kind of interviewing the patient. And then they'll send it out. And then I'll actually just see it on Facebook. I don't even see the finished result till I'm just scrolling. I'm like, oh, look at that. And because we're that routine, but you have to kind of get there. But like with any marketing, all marketing does is it's going to get ideally the phone to ring or your dashboard to pull up potential. And then at that point, it is your team's responsibility to handle that lead properly. And it's easy to point fingers and say, my marketing is not working or whatever, but really, okay, that could be a conversation that you speak openly with your Blumberg Digital team, but you always have to look, MG, they teach responsibility. Like if we want things to happen, we're responsible for it. I mean, you see, we have negative, a couple months that we're negative. And what do? We switched everything up. And then the next month it's gangbusters. So it does take work, but I mean, look at the results.
Beautiful. Fantastic. And then our winners for today, following drum roll, everybody. Here we go. Michelle ALV, well done, one of the winners. Ashley Caldwell, one of the winners, well done. I've got Carmen Skinner, one of the winners. I've got Destiny, one of the winners. And then I've got Carly McLee. So those are our winners. Everybody give them a hand. Well done, guys. Well done. Just like that, that's how we do it. And games are fun. Just maybe close on a couple points. Kathleen, you and Beth have done so much to create a fun environment. What effect has that had on the team and on production, please?
Yeah, so the effect that the environment that we've created has had is that we really strive to make sure that our team members all know the role that they play in the overall organization, that no matter whether you're the receptionist, you're an assistant, you're our sterilization assistant, everybody plays a part. Everybody has a role in creating what we create here. I always say our names aren't on the door, but you should walk in here like it's your name on the door. Like it's Kathleen Dental, it's Beth Dental. You should walk in feeling that responsibility, but you should have fun with what you do. We spend so much time together that if we were in here and it was just monotonous all day, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So the fact that we play games, we have fun, makes our team want to show up. It makes them want to work hard. It drives them. You give people a purpose and they'll run with it as long as they're willing to accept that purpose, make it their own, and move forward. And I feel like that's something that we've been lucky enough to create. Dr. Rich and Dr. Beer have really trusted us and kind of let us guide things. But it starts with your office manager and your doctor owner. If we're not having fun, they're not having fun. So we set the tone, we make sure they're playing the game, but we want all of them to feel a part of it, like they're important to this organization, because they are.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And just to add to that, you do have to have the right tone level leading the ship. And I'm not talking about me or my wife, I'm talking about Kathleen and Beth, because I am not always super high tone in the morning or after a difficult procedure, or I did a double arch and my eyes are glazed over. But these girls are always on point and they're always creating the right atmosphere. And I cannot tell you how many games we have. And they never ask me any questions. They don't, I guess there's a rough budget. I don't even ask. But then I show up and the girls are, they win a prize and they're opening stuff. I have no idea what it is. And it used to be Stanley water bottles. Now it's a different Odawalla water bottle or whatever. You have to have the right person at the helm, and then also to give them the ability to kind of to proliferate in their position. And that's huge. And you just need highly trained people. So, DDS Success, MGE, I mean, of course, the Blumberg Digital, it all kind of just coincides together.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and to go off of what Dr. Rich said too, us being high tone and then creating a high tone environment brings more high tone people into our environment. Hiring, it's easier to spot people who maybe just won't fit in with our business.
And even same thing with patients. We've had some pretty grumpy patients say that they don't like it here because we're too happy.
That's great. You guys have just been amazing. We've got so much interest and so many questions that I might have to beg you to come back and do another phase 2 of this, maybe in the new year. But everybody, what do you think? What do y'all think? I'd say give these folks a hand. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Please pass all that acknowledgement and all that love on to Dr. Beer as well. I mean, the 4 of you have created an amazing thing. And your team is just amazing. Your whole team. So well done to all of you for creating that team. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, folks. Well, that wraps it up. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. It's been fantastic on our end. If you have any questions, I'd encourage you to reach out to probably Miriam. Miriam, go ahead and drop your email in the chat. If you have questions like, is this for you? Is this something, maybe you're not ready for this, but you need some help. It's Miriam, Miriam at Blumberg Digital. It's not BLOOM, it's BLUMBERG digital.com. And that concludes our October webinar. We're right on the spot, 1:00. We'll see you in the November webinar. Thank you very much.
See you.
Bye.